Hi everyone, welcome back to yet another episode of ARA, Anxiety Recovery with Albright. If you're new here or you're seeing me for the first time, my name is Medley Albright. Albright is an ex-anxiety sufferer who uses her own experience of suffering and recovery to help others who are still struggling. So whether you're struggling with social anxiety, generalized anxiety disorder, health anxiety, panic disorder, agoraphobia, OCD, depression, you are sensitized, you are in the right place. In this channel, we create videos about everything concerning anxiety. If you have not yet subscribed yet, I would urge you to watch this video up to the end. If you feel like this video is valuable and you want to see more of this content on your timeline, kindly hit that subscription button. Otherwise, let's get into this video. So today I want to talk about a fear that I've been debating. Should I talk about it? Should I not talk about it? Because it is one of those fears. It is a big one, but it is one of those fears that when you focus on overcoming anxiety, as you focus on overcoming anxiety, that fear will also go away as a consequence. I struggle with OCD. To those of you who also struggle with health anxiety, it is a big fear. It is obsessive. And anyone who has struggled with anxiety has had this fear at some point. You don't have to be struggling with, chronic OCD or chronic health anxiety to have this fear. Any form of anxiety disorder, you have had this fear. So I want to talk about the fear of death. I know it was a big struggle for me at the beginning, because when I was having these panic attacks, when I was having these chronic heart palpitations that doctors didn't have the answers to, I was having these chronic digestive issues, I was having this chronic dizziness. When you go to the hospital, all they say is, blood work is done, scans is done, all they say is you are okay. So when you come back home, when you're all alone with your thoughts in the middle of the night, you're always just like, what if I die from this? What if I develop a heart attack right now and I just die from this? You start experiencing existential thoughts. Existential thoughts are thoughts about your existence. Why are you here? What is the purpose of you being here? What is your purpose? Then you start thinking, you start thinking about death, how your death will look like. That's what I used to think about, how your death will look like. The worst is, even if you hear someone has died, that one will take my anxiety all over the roof. My next thought was always just like, what if I am next? That is the extreme death anxiety went for me. The thing is, for a sensitized person, even if you start, researching, you start wanting to solve the thought of death, because this is a fear just like any other thought. Just like, what if I have a heart attack? It is an anxious thought just like any other thoughts. So you might find that you go into searching, you want to know how, death looks like, and that is a disaster for that type of fear, because, and the subconscious brain will always bring you whatever you're thinking about. When you go onto TikTok, you find all these thoughts about death. You go onto Facebook, you find all these thoughts about death. So this spikes your anxiety all over the roof. And with death anxiety, no matter what you're told, I was reading a certain article where it said that, in this world, we started, as human beings, we started existing over 50,000 years ago. And in this world, we have had a population of 93 billion. And right now we have 7 billion. So that means 85 billion have died. I was told, do not worry about death. You can't do anything about it. Death is inevitable. You can't control it. All those things don't make sense when you're struggling with that fear. I was struggling with OCD, and OCD can be obsessive. So even if I tried to, drag myself around, even if I tried to, just find something to occupy my mind, that fear was always in front here. It was never going away. Then I realized that is just a fear like any other. It is a thought like any other. When you don't know better, when you don't understand what is happening, when you don't gain knowledge about it, you might think that it is a different entity, because death is uncertain, you can't control it. Anxiety wants control. Anxiety wants you to be certain, and because you can't be certain about that, no one is certain. No one is certain. No one knows whatever is gonna happen when you die. So anxiety wants you to be certain, and you can't be certain about death. Like right now, when you ask me like what I feel about death, I'm just nonchalant. I don't know, because first of all, I think that fear, me passing through that fear, kind of loosened the fear of death for me. I'm just right now, I'm just like, if it reaches, I'll just have to go, because you can't do anything. You'll just have to go. It won't pass even with a second. So for me, that fear kind of changed my mindset about death. And that doesn't mean that when I think about it, I don't feel some certain type of fear. I do feel, I don't want to die. I do feel some certain type of fear. It's just that it doesn't occupy my whole day. That's not what I think of. I can think of it once in a while, because that's what makes us human. You thinking about death makes you human. It is very normal, because these are things we think about. It is inevitable. Death is part of life, so you have to think about it. So when I think about, when you go through that fear, it is not about stopping that fear. It is about going through that fear, so that even if you think about death, you're just like, okay, I know one day I'll die. It doesn't give you that intense fear where you can't, it is, that irritable fear, which is overwhelming, which is disastrous. That's what I used to go through. Like my whole day, that's what I was occupied with. I was just thinking about death. How will it be? What if I die in my sleep? What if these heart palpitations lead to a heart attack and I die? That's what you think about. The thing there is, what helped me once I gained knowledge and understanding about anxiety, I realized that the fear of death is just like any other fear. What if it's, these heart palpitations are something else? What if this dizziness is something else? What if these digestive issues is something else? That's the category in which fear of death also belongs. It is not something different from all these other fears. So what I did is to accept. I allowed myself to fear death. I accepted that I feared death. I was dragging myself around, but that fear was just here. I was trying to forget now is the worst thing. Trying to suppress it, fighting it, trying to make it go away. That's because to that you're proving to your brain that fear is real. And when you prove to the brain that any fear is real, it will bring you more of this fear that you're trying to run away from. So I just accepted that, this now temporarily, I fear death. I'm gonna allow whatever it comes with. Sometimes I used to feel nauseous. That fear used to come with nausea for me, but I was like, it's okay. I can't do anything about it. Even if I worry about it, don't add second fears worrying about it. Mentally figure, trying to solve. You are reading about death. You can't do anything. So just accept that you fear death. Accept those thoughts to be there. Don't try to make them go away. Don't try to stop them. Don't try to suppress them. Just let them flow. And when you do this, as time goes by, you'll realize that the intensity of this fear starts to go down, and eventually you'll be able to overcome this fear. As you focus on overcoming anxiety, this fear will also go away. I struggled with that fear big time when I still didn't know that it was also part of anxiety. You'll come out on the other side that even if you think about death, because this is something that is there, it is part of our lives. You are growing old, you are growing, people around you are dying. So once in a while you'll have to think about death, but it will not be, it will not cause you panic. You'll not be fearful of it. You'll just be like, okay, it is part of life. And it's not like you will want to die. No, you don't want to die. It is some sort of, you'll be like, oh, okay, one day I'll die, but not like that's all you think about, not like that's the subject that occupies your mind. So learn to go through that fear. It's not about stopping anything. It's not about not, trying to forget or not trying to think about it. It's about, yes, it's there. You can't control it because you are sensitized. And when you're sensitized, thoughts are exaggerated. Anxiety tends to latch on the worst case scenarios. Even if it's heart palpitations, it's always a heart attack. Even if it's digestive issues, you are having, I don't know, stomach cancer. If it's the tension headaches, it's brain tumor, because anxiety tends to latch on the worst case scenario. You are sensitized, the thoughts are exaggerated, the emotions are exaggerated. So fear of death is part of anxiety, and the best thing you can do about it is to allow it to be there. Drag yourself around with it. Don't try to forget it. Don't try to make it go away. It is gonna be overwhelming at some point, but you'll realize the intensity of it will start going down. And when the intensity of it starts going down, eventually you will be able to overcome it. That's what happened for me. I don't try to forget it, because if you try to forget it, it will grasp on you more, because trying to forget about it is a form of second fears, and second fears keeps you stuck in the anxiety cycle. Right now, when I tell you not to think of a pink elephant, haven't you thought of a pink elephant? You have thought of a pink elephant. You can't do anything to not think of a pink elephant. But if you allow yourself to think about it, not trying to forget it, it will naturally dissipate. You'll realize, okay, you can focus on the television, you can do other things without thinking of the pink elephant. So the same with death. You will think about it, because right now you're sensitized, your thoughts are exaggerated. Just allow it. Let the thoughts flow. Let the thoughts come in and go. That's the way to overcome that fear. So if the fear of death is something that you struggle with, hope this video will help. Just try and make peace with it. Otherwise, if you have watched up to this video, a thumbs up for this video, like this video, share this video to other people who may need it, subscribe because it helps the channel grow, and comment down below, is that a fear that you struggle with? Otherwise, if you want to talk to me one-on-one, I have a coaching program where I help people overcome anxiety disorders. If you feel like anxiety has wasted your time and you need to get your life back from anxiety, use this WhatsApp or this email to reach out to me. Otherwise, let's meet on the next one.